Hello, everyone. I'm Sima Levy with an exciting segment today on Gold Coast Connections. One of my favorite players, one of my favorite people, now that I got to know him a little bit, Mr. Tom Laidlaw. I do have an accent, so you excuse me. Tom Laidlaw, number 2 defenseman, who was in my locker growing up, his poster with some others, but we love him the most.
Yeah,
Mr. Tom
told
Laidlaw.
Me before it was Pierre LaRouche you loved more than
I
me,
did,
so.
but not anymore.
Not anymore? Okay, that's good. Perfect.
I did like Pierre LaRouche. And Ron Duguay was 3rd, and I really did like you. It was the dimples.
Okay,
it was
perfect.
the dimples.
As long as I'm ahead of Duguay, that's all that matters. As long as I'm ahead of Duguay.
And I did meet Duguay, and I did tell him that same day I met you. I said, well, there's someone I like better than you. And I was like,
oh, is that right? That's funny. That's good.
But it was funny. So, Mr. Tom Laidlaw, please welcome to our studio.
Great to be here. Good to see you again.
Yes, so great to see you. Let's get to know you. Let America get to know you. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Brampton, Ontario, on a farm milking cows.
I love
right,
it.
Yeah, right outside of Toronto, about 25 miles outside of Toronto. So,
That's unbelievable. How was life on a farm?
Well, it's one of those things when you're a little boy, you really don't want to be doing it. You want to get, especially I had a dream to play in the National Hockey League. And actually, my father asked me about, I think he was like 14 or 15 years old, if I wanted to be a farmer. And I said, no way, I'm playing in the National Hockey League. But now I look back at it now and I realize all the things that I learned on the farm, the work ethic and the doing things correctly, it's really helped me, not just my hockey career, but all the things that I do in my life now. So
I love it. And we get to know all about your life. But your life on the farm, milking a cow, what was the best thing that you learned from working on a farm?
Well, for my father and grandfather, it was that dedication to do things the right way. We had a big enough farm that we could survive, off selling the milk and everything, but they couldn't hire other people to work there. They couldn't really buy new equipment, so it was always like maintaining things properly. My grandfather went to buy a truck from a neighbor one time, and he opened up the hood, and there was dust on the engine, so he wouldn't buy it. Like when he washed the truck, he would wash the engine and everything. So it was that learning to do things the right way. And again, I think I kind of got away from that a little bit, and now I've started this other chapter in my life, and it's kind of taken me back to when I was a little boy, learning stuff from my father and grandfather.
And we're so excited to find out about that chapter. Who was your most inspiring person growing up?
Well, it'd have to be 2 people, my father and grandfather, for sure. And I wouldn't always have said that. Like, growing up as a hockey player, they were those, my father was 6'4", but like a kind of a mild gentleman, like I was getting in fights all the time, and I'm thinking that's what a man's supposed to be, getting in fights. And he wasn't like that at all. So, in fact, I remember like looking at him sometimes, like, geez, Dad, you got to toughen up a little bit. Meantime, he was up every day milking the cows, and he sold the farm and became a firefighter. Oh, wow. So I look back at him now, and I realize how important he was. And my grandfather was the same way. There's 2. My grandmother, my grandfather, my father's side, grandmother was in a wheelchair for as long as I knew her. She had arthritis. Oh, yeah. So all my grandfather ever did was work on the farm and take care of her. It's one of those stories that when she died, he died right after she died because his reason for living was gone.
Wow.
So. Yeah.
I can actually relate to your story. My mom took care of her great aunt who served as a mom because she was wheelchair bound because of arthritis. Right. It's horrific.
Yeah.
But a lot could be done today, right? And
yes.
we're going to speak more about it, how, something that struck me when I met you and you said, had you known about nutrition back in the days when you played as much as you knew today or know today, it will make such a difference because you are jacked. I mean, you're solid.
Thank you.
All right? And give us a little bit about your nutrition regimen.
Yeah, it's interesting to say. So I make all my own food now and everything too. I make my own ketchup, my own hummus, all that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because you realize the more you learn about the food you're putting in your body, you see that ketchup, for example, has that high fructose corn syrup in it, which is terrible for you. So I've realized I just made some this morning before I came here. It's just
ketchup recipe, please.
So I roast up tomatoes, peppers, sweet peppers, garlic. I put onion, saute it up, put capers in for the salty flavor. And then I put all that in a blender once it's all cooked up. And then put in a can of crushed tomatoes and a little bit of apple cider vinegar. So there's no sugar, no salt in it. It's all vegetable.
I love that. Yeah. We're going to have the recipe for you, right? It's going to be all here for you. That's incredible. I'm actually going to try to make it this weekend because I'm obsessed with ketchup.
We don't try. We do things.
I like that. Yeah. Is that your mantra?
It is part of it, yes. Yeah.
And your favorite quote?
Anything in life that is worth doing is worth overdoing.
Anything in life that's worth doing.
A lot of people talk about moderation. I don't believe in moderation. I think if you're going to do something, I think you do it all out.
You can't be half pregnant.
That's good. That's a good one. Very good. Very good. That's true. I never thought of it that way, but that's true. So you do everything with purpose, passion, and intent. So everything you do, so I take it to the extreme. Like with my foods, everything I eat, there's a reason why I'm eating it. It can still taste good, but it's good food. So it's the fishes. I take ginger and turmeric every morning. I'm usually doing fasting, so I'm fasting today. So it's
How many hours?
I'll do a 16-hour fast. So stop eating at 8 o'clock and then don't eat it until noon. It's really just skipping breakfast.
So you eat at noon,
Right.
you eat at noon,
Right.
and you feel like your body is talking to you? Like
Yeah.
it tells you I need to eat?
Well, yeah, you get used to it though. Like I like to push it even farther. I do like to plan a lot of meetings around noon, so I'll push it beyond. Like especially if you're busy, you're not thinking about the hunger anymore.
Yeah.
So and again, once you get to learn what fasting does for you with autophagy, how it regenerates the cells in your body. I think for me, that's one of the biggest things that I've learned to learn more now. So once I learn what it does for my body, what I put in my body, how and even mentally too. So if you want to be in shape physically, you go to the gym, you work out, you eat good foods. Same thing mentally. If you want to be stronger mentally, there's ways that you can train your mind to be stronger mentally too. So.
Give us one example, please.
Well, taking yourself outside your comfort zone. So none of us are perfect, right? We're all going to make mistakes, and life is not fair. So things are going to come your way that push you outside your comfort zone when you don't want to be pushed outside your comfort zone. So if you've trained yourself to be comfortable outside your comfort zone, then it's not as big a deal to you when something bad happens to you, when you make a mistake. And again, we're all going to make mistakes. So
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. It's funny that you say that. Every morning I read a mantra or a quote from the Bible.
Good.
And this one said this morning, and I'm just capitalizing on what you're saying, be thankful for the opening of doors and grateful for the ones that closed.
Oh.
So because the ones that closed made you uncomfortable, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Just the way you're saying.
Yeah.
But if you go full force at
Yeah.
the opening doors and
Yeah.
you eventually will feel the pleasure.
Right. And you'll feel so much better. You'll start to love yourself more now too, right? Because you feel better about yourself. Well, to be honest with you, I didn't love myself then like I love myself now.
Why?
I think because I've learned, so really and you get so wrapped up in yourself, your whole kind of being is being a hockey player. And that's all people see you as a hockey player. They don't see you as a person. And it's our own fault too. We buy into that. I mean, we do it from, when we're young kids, we just don't know anything different. So you're growing up playing hockey and everybody's treating you better because you're a better hockey player.
Amazing.
And then you get away from it, you realize what you're playing no longer. Those same people they're not being nice to you anymore.
I'm nice. I find you fascinating.
No, yeah. Well,
but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
You were a subject, right? You
Yeah.
were a subject. And there's so much more to you because you're human who is a creator. And by the way, being such an incredible hockey player is actually not only an inspiration to others, but the way you are today, looking at you today, is even more of an inspiration.
Yeah, I do. I think you're right. Like physically, when you're an athlete, people look at you and go, "Wow, that's great that he can do that."
Yes.
But the reality is too, like I really don't view myself as any better athlete than anybody else. Like I'm so lucky I played with. I played with Wayne Gretzky in L.A. People say he's the best hockey player that's ever played. But the reality is he's just a human being like anybody else. 100%. He really just wanted it bad. So I always say to people too that he and I both had dreams we both accomplished. My dream was to play in the NHL. His dream was to be the best player that ever played in the NHL.
Wow.
So that's a lesson about planning your life too, about your dreams. Don't dreams. That's like don't dream small, dream big, and really believe that you can do it too.
Yeah. So don't dream small, dream big. Was he your sports hero?
No, actually, there was a football player for the Dallas Cowboys, Randy White. They called him the Manster. And I didn't know why I liked him so much, but now I see myself now and I see the way he was and the way people talked about him. He just would never quit. He was every game, every play, he was always there. And so I didn't really idolize a hockey player. He was the guy that I idolized. And again, I don't know if I understood before why I idolized him, but I see now because that's the way I've lived my life. Like I've really, and I don't say this humbly because I'm pretty cocky actually. No.
I love it.
Going on Survivor, I know we're going to talk about Survivor
Yes.
more. But we had to go to casting out in L.A., and there's a whole bunch of meetings. So the first meeting was with Jeff Probst, he's the host, and there's a couple other people, and these two women from CBS. So we have a bunch of questions, and I'm having fun, because I've been interviewed a lot, so I was very nice and relaxed. And he was loving it. And he turned at the end of the interview, and he says to the two women, he says, "So what do you think of him?" And one woman goes, "I like him, he's confident but not cocky." And the other woman goes, "No, he's totally cocky."
He's cocky.
Yeah. So it's kind of what you're going for, to get on the show. So
How do you get your confidence? What is your confidence move?
Putting in the work. It's that getting up at 3:30, going to the gym, eating properly, taking care of your skin, everything. Like, you want to look good, you want to feel good. And I think anybody can do it too. Like, you take care of yourself, obviously. You want to look good. And I think it's inside and out. And if you do the work, then you give yourself that license to be confident. If you don't do the work, it's the same thing, because you know inside if you haven't done the work. It's like making the bed. Like, you could make the bed and it could look perfect, even though the sheets underneath it are not taken care of, like not folded in. But if you do it the right way every day, then you walk out of that room knowing, okay, yes, I did it the right way.
And he did it the right way. And then when you come home and appreciate a really nice bed to go into, right?
It is kind of cool. Yeah, when you walk into the room and you see it made nice like that.
Yes.
Like, somebody walked in my room recently. And it's just like a hotel room. It's like spotless there, yeah.
Oh, tell us about that.
Yeah, it was, I can't get into too many details. Yeah, it is funny because it's so different. Like, when I first turned pro, for example, I was interviewed, doing a podcast with former teammate Dave Maloney, great guy, totally admire him. And he and his wife owned a condominium that myself and another teammate rented. She came over probably about 2 months after we'd been in there, and she just wanted to look at the place, make sure it was clean, which it wasn't. It was a mess.
Oh, boy.
And I was so disorganized. Like, I had, all my paychecks were laying on the bedroom floor. And she was looking, she goes, you can cash all these paychecks. It's so different than the way I am now, right? It's like, I got so wrapped up in the hockey world, I'd kind of forgotten that upbringing that my father and grandfather had given me, too. So.
And they knew. One thing I learned also is, when you get rid of clutter, you get rid of chaos, right? So your brain is more open to receiving other things. Purge in your house is the best feeling. I love it. 3 things you threw out recently.
Shirts and shoes. What else did I throw out recently? More shirts. Like, I still got shirts, and I'm like, what am I doing with all these shirts? I don't wear them all.
You are dressed really, really fine.
Thank you.
So who are you wearing today?
Well, we got a little ostrich skin boots on here. I was in Nashville about last week. I bought these. Actually, the Rangers bought them for us.
Oh.
Yeah. So I went in. They do so. Fans that spend a lot of money on season seats, they treat them really well. They'll take them on trips, like this is a Nashville trip, and then they have me come along. I'm supposed to be the entertainment. So so they went to the boot store. And
that is hot, America. If you are to wear cowboy boots, these are sexy. Just saying. Okay, they really are hot. I love them.
I like to do that. They're cool.
Very cool. Yeah. So we do have season tickets to the Rangers. I expect one. My size is 8.5. Thank you.
8.5. There you go.
Good. Rangers out there. Another thing I'm really impressed with. First of all, what made you do Survivor, and how did you survive Survivor?
Yeah.
Tell us about this.
Well, as I've gotten older, I've done it when I was younger too. So the Rangers had a program when I played where they paid for you to go to school. The idea was they wanted you to go to business school or whatever it was. So growing up on the farm, the big trucks would come to pick up our milk and take it to the dairy. And I always wanted to learn how to drive the big trucks. Wow. So I called the Rangers up one day and I said, I'm going to truck driving school. It's like, so I tell that story because I guess I always had that inside me that I would try something different, because all the rest of the guys are like, you're going to truck driver school, you're playing in the National Hockey League.
Like SpongeBob, boating school.
There you go, yes, boating school. He's living under the water. So with Survivor, when that came to me, first of all, they came to me, Jerry Bruckheimer, I think he owns a part of Big Brother, Amazing Race, and Survivor. I think that's how it works. And he's also a big hockey fan. So he went to the NHL and asked to get a couple of older guys to be on Amazing Race. And they went to other players as well, and they went to me. And I got in trouble I'm going to get in trouble again, but I couldn't find anybody my age that was in shape to do the show.
No, you really are. I never seen anything like it.
I'm probably in better shape now than I was when I played. I know more about it. I know more about my training, and eating and everything. So couldn't find anybody for Amazing Race, so they then asked me about Survivor. And at first, I didn't want to do it because Survivor, if anybody watches the show, is a lot of lying.
Yes.
And
manipulation. Surviving.
Yeah. So I told him, the casting director called me. I said, listen, I'm not going to be lying. My True Grit life is all about integrity and telling the truth. And he said, well, come out to casting. So I went out to casting, and things went really well. And one of the last meeting with Jeff Probst and all the people from CBS and Survivor, I told him, I said, listen, I know there's a lot of drama and crying and everything. There'll be no crying from me. There'll be no lying. And they said, okay, if you want to play, then that's the way to play. So, and I was happy. You always want to win. But it was really important to me that I went out there and really You know, I was representing Canada. I was the first Canadian that ever played the show.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was fun, yeah.
Kudos.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And then I was 60 years old out there too, so it was, and again, I want to be able to say to people, not just talk about it, but say, listen, if there's something you want to do, don't use age or anything as an excuse.
Pause. I'm so sorry, America. You know by now that I told you my mom, my French mother, taught me this. A woman never reveals her age. We don't talk about age, and we don't talk about years. That's it.
That's true. Yeah, because I never say to myself, pretty good for an old man. Like I'll say, people in the gym will say, well, that's pretty good for an old guy. And I won't say that. I don't allow that. I saw a great interview with Selma Hayek. I didn't really view her as a motivational speaker.
Love her.
Beautiful woman, yeah. And she's speaking to somebody, and she said, well, okay, so you don't speak Russian, do you?
No, but I understand Russian.
Oh, okay, so I'll use another language. What language don't you understand? Japanese?
No, I don't understand
So
Japanese.
if I insulted you in Japanese,
Yeah.
it wouldn't mean anything to you.
No.
Because you don't understand the words.
No.
So if you build that magical world for yourself where there's no words like can't and don't and it's all positive stuff, when people talk negatively to you, I don't understand your word. I don't comprehend those words.
You know what? I love that because I'm going to go back to one of my favorite movies, and don't judge me. Again, Pretty Woman. Because there was one thing that she did say. She said for all the compliments that she received, she only remembered the insult. And that's what made her really deteriorate. So if you don't hear the insults,
yeah, just doesn't affect you, yeah.
It doesn't affect you.
Yeah, and there's a lot of negative people in the world, and they're not necessarily bad people, but they'll always go to, like we get stuck in these ruts where we say, oh God, it's Monday, I can't,
Yeah.
So why do we say that? Like, why do we fall into that trap? So I just don't listen to that anymore. Like if somebody says, oh, it's Monday or it's cold or whatever, I go,
Yeah. I love Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday because I don't know what day it is or what time it is.
See, exactly. So yeah, who made these rules up that we got to work for 5 days and then have fun for 2 days? Like who made that rule up?
I don't know.
Forget it. That's not the way
I
I
don't
live.
know. I have no idea who made that rule.
Yeah.
I really think that every day is a day.
Yeah.
But you should also have a pampering day for yourself. So when is it that you shut down and you do nothing, not even a workout, or does that not exist?
It doesn't exist, yeah.
It doesn't exist.
I'll change the workout. So like try to have maybe like one day for every 2 weeks where I maybe do more stretching or whatever. But see, for me, it's all it's a process. So like what I've learned now from all my successes that I've had in the past, I've always followed a process. And it's always been my process. Like some people think I'm stubborn, and I guess I am stubborn, but I feel like it's stubborn in a good way. That whenever I've done something again, that I've said, okay, I'm putting my heart and soul into this, that's when I've had success. When other people have come to me with projects and they want me to get involved in it, I don't feel like it's, maybe I just don't put my heart into it because I don't believe in it as much.
Because you're a leader and you have your own views and you know what you want to get out of it.
Yeah.
So what are your 5 top priorities?
5 top priorities?
Yeah.
Oh, well, my mental health, my physical health, how I present myself too. Like 2 weeks ago, I got invited to go up back to my college, Northern Michigan University, and make a presentation in front of their student athletes. And I also, same day, I spoke to this alternative high school, a bunch of kids that have been through tough times. And I really found myself more that, so I don't really feel like I need to like flip a switch on to make a presentation. My life is the true grit life. So I talk about it all the time. So when I make a presentation to somebody, I'm representing myself, the true grit life. So yeah, it was really pretty impactful. Like this one young girl, she was very open talking about, we went for dinner with a bunch of kids from the alternative high school. This one young girl was very open talking about how she suffers from depression and anxiety. And so I said, listen, I'm not a doctor. I can tell you what I think about things, keeping active and feeling good about yourself. So she posted on, I think it was Facebook, that I was her hero. So yeah, so that kind of stuff happens. It's like, now you've got a responsibility. If you're like, I've had many people come to me. I had a gentleman, when I first started probably about 3 years ago, we were at an event with the Rangers in Midtown Manhattan, and he came running over to me and hugged me, started hugging me. And I'm like, okay, this guy.
Oh my God.
We had to lose 70 pounds or else he was going to die. And he couldn't do it any other way except when he started following me online. So like he just couldn't wait to tell me that. So that was the first time it kind of happened. I was like, wow, that's like, I didn't anticipate that that's the way things were going to go. And since then, it's happened a lot. Where there's been some bad situations too, where people have been suicidal, and and one case, person hurt themselves. But I've learned to say, listen, I'm not There's that 988 hotline now for a suicide prevention hotline. So I say to them, listen, I'll help you any way I can, but you need to get to professionals to really help you that know what they're doing about it. So.
What a heart you have. Really.
Thank you.
What a heart. A cocky heart. No,
That's true. It is not.
You are.
See, you know what the problem is? I know it's not a problem. I like it. I like being, I view myself as overly confident.
Yeah.
But, like
There's
those two
nothing
women.
wrong.
Yeah, like those two women from CBS, it's really how everybody else perceives you. Like
Yeah.
it's their decision to decide whether you're cocky in their eyes. And
Yeah.
somebody else that sees you at the same time may not think you're cocky. It's just you're a confident person.
By the way, I view it just like analyzing you and just the words itself, cocky and confidence, being totally different. When you're confident,
Yeah.
you do have love for yourself.
Yeah.
And then you can give love to others, and then all this magic and energy comes about.
Yeah.
When you're cocky, you're something behind something that it doesn't stem from happiness.
Right.
So,
You're putting on a show for somebody else.
correct.
Yeah.
And there's nothing showy about you.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gorgeous, but there's nothing that's like fake, and you're very real.
That's
and
interesting to say
authentic.
that because people ask me, like, I don't wear a watch, I don't have jewelry, I don't have tattoos, it's just
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
That's
That's what the biggest thing, too. People come to me, and friends of mine, too, and they're really meaning well. They say, well, Tom, you should do this or you should do that. I go, no, I should do what I'm doing. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're your own person.
Yeah.
And everyone has their own map and direct their own life.
Yes.
Tell us about a closed door that you opened up, a different door that brought you into this most amazing place.
Well, I'll tell you a quick little story about
Okay.
an actual door that I opened.
Yeah.
So you see me as this confident man now, but when I was 18 years old and I left the farm to go off to college, my parents thought I'd be home in 2 weeks. They said I'd never been off the farm. I was like this little farm boy. I was a big man physically, but emotionally and confidence-wise, I really never done that much. So we went to the dorms, and it was the first year we had a hockey program. It was the first year I went there, so there was no hockey before that. So we got invited to the party by a bunch of girls in the dorms. So about 10 of us hockey players go to the door, and we're all standing out in the hallway. We're too nervous to open the door. And that was, so it's amazing you asked me that question because
so cool.
literally
That's like a physical door.
yeah,
You're so
yeah.
nervous. to
So
open
I had
doors.
to, I mustered up all this courage, like it's a big deal. Went and opened the door, and I'll never forget that feeling. Like, wow, that's a huge. And it's kind of funny to laugh about it now. That wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
But at that moment, it was huge to do it.
Do you miss that feeling?
Well, pardon me.
Do you miss that feeling?
I still have that feeling. Like people ask me if I miss playing, and I don't. Like I love my life now so much. Like I think, again, I was very proud that I put the work in to play for the Rangers and I accomplished a goal. But like I love myself better now. Like I just.
Love that. Funny locker room story.
So Nick Fotiu was played with him. He was great with the practical jokes, and one of his best practical jokes was putting baby powder in the hair dryers. Right, so after the game, when the guys like the Ron Duguays went to dry their hair, they get the baby
Oh
powder.
yeah, he skated with no helmet, America,
Oh, yeah.
by the way.
So Nicky got traded away, so I got the idea. I was going to do that, but I was going to set it up before the game. We had this coach that was kind of like the eye in the sky. He would go upstairs and watch the game and radio down all the information. And he would have this routine before the game. He'd work out in the locker room or outside the locker room. And then he had a whole thing where he'd put his suit on, shower, put his suit on, put his contact lenses in, then he'd dry his hair. I forgot that he had this routine. But so it's like 5 hair dryers. I put the baby powder in one hair dryer. We've gone out for warm-ups. We're about to get up. We're going on the ice. We're just going to walk out on the ice. Again, he had this whole thing timed so they'd just be ready for the game. So I hear the hair dryer come on. And I'm thinking, there's 5 hair dryers. There's no way he's going to grab the one that I put there. And he started screaming. He goes, Laidlaw, I'm going to kill you. Because we got the baby powder in his head. Had to go shower again. And he was late for the game. So the guys were dying laughing, too. The other funny story that I tell, like Madison Square Garden's a fantastic place to play. But the fans there at Madison Square Garden, like they love the Rangers. So if things aren't going well, they're going to let you know that things aren't going well. So Herb Brooks was coaching us, so it must have been like in 83 or 84, and we were playing terrible. So he's yelling at us on the bench. I'm on the ice, so I'm looking at Herb, I'm trying to pay attention to him, but you can also see all the fans in behind him. So this beautiful woman, just like you, seriously, she looked like she comes walking down.
Thank you.
She comes walking down, she's got the fur coat on and everything, and she's staring at me. So I'm like 24, 25 years old, so I'm assuming that she just wants me, right? That's the way guys think. So she comes walking down the glass, and she's looking right at me, and I'm thinking, she's going to give me her phone number, like put it through the glass or something like that. And I'm thinking to myself, no, don't do it. Herb's going to go crazy. She gets down to the glass. She starts banging on the glass. She goes, Laidlaw, you suck. You're terrible. It was fantastic. The guys were just dying on the bench because they saw it.
That's hysterical. You have beautiful teeth. Did one of them get knocked out?
They all did. Yeah, these are all new. People ask me. Yeah, people ask me.
All right, hockey players.
Yeah, they ask me all the time, "Are those your teeth?" I say, "Yeah, they're mine. I paid for them."
They're
Yeah,
gorgeous.
yeah. Thank
They
you.
really are beautiful.
My poor mother. So when I was a kid, we used to wear these mouth guards over top of our mouth, obviously. And as we got older, guys were starting to take them off. So I would say, "Come, Mom, can I take it off, please?" You know, because I look like a baby out there. So she finally lets me take the mouth guard off. First game I played without the mouth guard, I get hit in the tooth. So it broke a tooth, but the tooth gradually over like 50 years or whatever got more and more brown. And I was coaching a young team, and one player on the team, I was kind of mentoring him, and his parents were both dentists, and the mother was really nice. So she comes up to me one time, and she goes, "Son, Tom," she was almost like nervous, but she says, "Listen, you're a very handsome man, but can I fix your tooth?" I was driving her nuts, so they fixed my teeth.
I love it. I love it. Especially when you have those dimples, you need to smile and show them off, right? I have to say one thing. Definitely one of the best people I've met in the last few months, because you can feel your energy. Did anyone ever tell you that?
Yeah,
Your
I get told that a lot now.
is
But it wasn't like that the rest of my life. Like I was more reserved. Like I feel now more, like I said, that I live the true grit life. So when I'm talking to you, like I'm representing myself, I'm representing the true grit life. And I've learned that, you know, you can help people too, that you can really inspire them. And if you just inspire them in a little way, then it's fine. Other kids, like younger people that maybe haven't lived along, like I make a lot of presentations to them at schools, graduating classes and everything. And you can see now, because I present better than I did before, so I can really see that I'm making a difference in their lives. Little things like they'll ask, you know, how do you make a great first impression? And I'll talk to myself, well, you look people in the eye, you listen to what they say, you grab their hand and you shake their hand firmly. And it's surprising how people don't get, a lot of kids don't get that, right? Actually, I made this presentation at one school, and at the end of the presentation, all the kids are coming up to me, shaking my hand, and they made a point of looking at me right now, too, like this. And I didn't get it at first, and they were trying to tell me, yeah, we listened to you.
We listened to you. I love it. Favorite movie?
Favorite movie?
Yes.
It would be a John Wayne movie. I'm a huge John Wayne fan.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
All right, Dad.
Hence the boots. Hence the boots. So probably The Cowboys.
Yes.
It's a great movie. He didn't die in too many of his movies. He died in that movie, The Cowboys, and it was about him. He was had a farm, and he had to get the cattle to the ranch or to where he could sell them to market. And all his sons had died. It was during a gold rush, and he couldn't find anybody to help him get the cows from his place to the market. So he actually got young boys from the high school. There was a local school, so they were anywhere from 14 to 7 years old. So he was responsible for these kids. So there's a whole story about how these bad guys came along to steal the herd and killed John Wayne. And the kids now, who started off being these little boys, now found the courage. They're young men now. They really weren't men, but the way they acted were like men. So they went and avenged John Wayne So it's a very inspirational movie about. It was cool.
I totally can relate. My father grew up, but his favorite movie was, I don't know if you saw it. I'm sure you did. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
And that music, it's kind of cool. Well, maybe our producer can play that music.
I remember those movies. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So that was like really cool growing up like that. Is there anything today that I did not ask you that you wish I did?
No. I guess more it's like with other people, if they see this, I think hopefully they get the message that if you want to accomplish things in life, you really can. It's not just a saying. Like I've learned a lot more, like scientifically, about the subconscious mind. I actually worked with a hypnotist. Did some podcasts with her.
Oh my gosh, tell me.
Well, I met her, fantastic woman. Her husband works for the Rangers. That's how I met him and then met her. And so I always thought hypnosis was when they're dangling the watch in front of your face, but it's actually a state that we all get into every day. Like you may be sitting there reading a book, and then you realize, like for the last 10 pages, you can't remember what you read. Like your mind had gone off in this hypnotic state. And they teach, the theories are that your subconscious mind is formed anywhere from the last trimester in the womb up until like 7 or 8 years old.
Wow.
So yeah, all these things that you're taught, like negativity, positivity, fears, all that's all formed to you when you're that young age. So that's your subconscious mind holds all that. There's kind of a guard that goes over. This is my version. She'd probably tell it more scientifically, but there's a guard that protects the subconscious mind with those things to say, okay, no, this is what you've been taught, and this is what you're gonna. So you can, if you can do it without hypnosis, but it's better. It's easier to use hypnosis to kind of take that guard away and now retrain your subconscious mind.
I love it.
It's like, and that's the scientific. Like, if you really want to do something, I tell people, don't tell yourself you can't do it. Tell yourself you can over and over and over. A woman contacted me recently. Her son, it was a real sad story. She's a big Ranger fan and follows me online. And her son had epileptic seizure, went into cardiac arrest, and was now in a vegetative state. So she was just totally distraught, and understandably so. But all of it was negativity. Negativity from the doctor saying it can't happen, he won't be able to walk, he's going to stay there. And I said, listen, you go in that room and you tell him he can. He can hear you. You've got to tell him he can. And it really helped her now believe that, yes, she was going to be helping her son. Like, she felt like before there was really nothing she could do for him.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't some magic that I developed. It's just that's the actual science. And I really do believe that stuff. There's lots of stories about people. There's this Joe Dispenza. He was paralyzed in a bike accident. And the doctors told me never walk again. And he literally just willed himself to walk again. I mean, this is a story, and I believe it. I think he's a good motivational speaker now as well. But it's like you really can talk yourself into doing things on both good and bad ways. Like if you keep saying negative stuff about yourself, then that's how you're gonna feel.
I agree with you. You know, I don't really share a lot of my personal life, but you know, when I was 9 years old, I lost my brother to brain tumor. However, my parents decided to give us a beautiful life, not monetarily, but adventurous.
Yeah.
Because it's how you see it, exactly what you say. That's your mind, how your mind works. You either can like fall and go, deteriorate, and all that. But you know, of course, we had the pain, and it wasn't a Band-Aid, but it was about, we're going to do life, and we're going to celebrate life. And I think people that experience a lot of different things in life are able to appreciate life.
Absolutely, they should, yeah.
Right.
Like, it's a terrible thing that you lost your brother, but I think your parents did the right thing to say, listen, okay, this shows us that we need to live a magical life, because you never know what's going to get taken away. Yeah?
Correct. And oh my God, thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much for being here. Tell America, please, what is it that gives you happiness today? And it could be one thing. If it's just one thing.
I know people ask, like, what do I do for fun? And I stopped, like, it happened to me a couple weeks ago, and I stopped and I thought, you know what? I get up every morning. I just have built, like, I love my life.
Yeah.
So I don't have to go create some artificial fun someplace. It's just my life is fun. Like, I get pleasure out of my life, getting up in the morning and doing all the things I'm doing and just living life all out. So like, people even ask, like, I'm all healthy all the time and everything, but they say, well, Tom, how about having a drink? And I go, well, yeah, I'm going to live my life all out. And I say to people, I'm not trying to promote, you know, alcoholism or drinking.
Favorite drink, what is it?
Oh, no question, tequila and grapefruit juice, yeah. But I say to people, listen, if you're going to have your cocktails, that's fine. But if you've got something, don't do random the next day. Like if you're going to get up at 3:30 to go to the gym, no matter how many cocktails you had the night before, get up and go to the gym.
Correct.
That's the key. So it's because, I think we got to live our life. Like you said, I mean, you never know what's going to happen to you. So if it's something you want to do in life, you
just do it.
Yeah.
You're right. You just do it. Just do it, America. This is the incredible, my new friend, Mr. Tom Laidlaw, number 2 defenseman, but that's in the past. Today, he's a motivational speaker. He's an entrepreneur. He's a chef. He's everything that I probably inspired to be. So thank you for being such an inspiration.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thank you so much.
I'm very glad you and your husband are in my life too. So
it's not my husband; it's my significant other.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know that. Oh, okay.
He's my significant other. Oh. There's no ring on it yet.
Not yet. Oh, not yet.
Beyonce should be playing right now. So amazing. Thank you for being here on Gold Coast Connection, Mr. Tom Laidlaw.
Great show. Good job.
Thank you.